The place where an error occurs inside the program is not necessarily the place where it is more convenient to handle it. So for instance, in this case, we have a function that computes the average of a list of numerical values. This function basically sums the elements of the list and divides them by the length of the list to obtain the average. Now, a function like this can generate a division by zero error if it's passed, for instance, an empty list, because the length of that would be 0. Now the point is that the error occurs here, but probably that list shouldn't have been empty in the first place. So maybe it's easier to take remedial action outside this function, for instance by notifying the user that the input file that they asked you to read was empty. Luckily, exception objects store some traceback information that allows you to handle an error in the caller of the function. We see it here, traceback, and this is the most recent call that happens last, and that's the division that led to the error. But just above that, we see the call to average, and that is where the function was called. So we can choose to handle the error here. We can handle it here at the level of the caller. If we don't handle it at all, like in this case, then the program would crash and print this message. So the first of the two options might go a bit like this. We write a try except statement inside the average function, and we use it to wrap the line that can potentially generate the error. And if a zero division error happens, we handle it in the except clause by returning none, which is a conventional value that can stand for, no value. If we run this code, it no longer crashes, and indeed if the list is empty, none is returned. Now the main program that called average can check whether the result is none, and in that case can be alerted that something was wrong and can do something about it. But the other option is to let the exception bubble up to the level of the caller and to handle it in the caller. So by that I mean that we don't put any try except statement inside the function, but we put it around the call to the function. So you see try, and we call the function twice. Each of these actions can potentially generate an error, and if an error does occur, we print a meaningful message for the user. So there it goes. So whether you decide to handle the error at the level where it happens or further up the call stack really depends on the structure of your program, the type of the error, and the type of remedial action that you want to take. But in any case, the exception mechanism gives you this flexibility.